Last week we talked about one of the biggest groups of thieves in the world, all governments. All governments, no matter what kind of government it is, no matter where it's at on the face of the earth, no matter what culture has brought it into existence, no matter what time period of history. Every single government that has ever existed on the face of the earth, external government, let's call it, okay? Because there is real government called internal government, meaning that you control your own thoughts, emotions, and actions, and that's real. Every illusory form of externalized government, the claim of authority on other people, every single person who is doing that or advocating it is a thief, and they're a slave. It is the ideology of slavery. It is one of the two religions of slavery. Government and money, the two religions of slavery. Fake money. Again, you got to understand there's a real version and there's a fake version. Just like there's a real government, which is internal, there's a fake version, which is external. The real one eye is spiritual enlightenment. The fake one eye is all forms of what we call currencies. We talked about this group, the archonists, the ones who accept that there is such a thing as masters and slaves. All people who acknowledge government, condone its existence, condone its continuity, are archonists. We talked about what the word anarchy really means last week, and I put that in slide number 4. The word anarchy comes from two Greek words, a prefix and a noun. The prefix an, in Greek it's spelled alpha nu, okay, means when you tack it onto the beginning of a word, without or the absence of, not present, in other words. Lacking, not present, absent, okay, without, not having this. However you want to word it or look at it, that's what an, a or an means. So an, at the beginning of anarchy, means without or not present or the absence of. And then the second part, archy, archy, comes from the Greek word, the noun in Greek, archon. archon, transliterated into English. In Greek, this would be spelled alpha, rho, chi, omicron, nu, archon. Okay? So, what is an archon in the Greek language? It means a master, as in one who owns and keeps slaves. Or a ruler, as in a king who has subjects that must obey his whims, that must obey his authority. He owns other people. He is the owner of other people. That's all an archon is. If you believe in government, you are an archonist. That means you believe certain people are masters, other people are slaves, certain people have rights that other people don't have, and certain people have a moral obligation to obey the whims and commands of those who are their masters. And that's what all government is, if you're being honest with yourself. If you want to be a liar, if you want to be a person who is ignorant and who wants to ignore reality of what it really is, go and tell yourself that's not what government is. It'll never make it true. You can go and believe whatever you want about what you think government is, but what it is a claim of authority on other people's lives. That's it. It's the simplest way of putting what government is. And how it's perpetuated is right in the word. Governa, governare, or guberna, gubernare in Latin means to control, mens mentis, and yes, that is the second part of the word etymologically, whether you understand that or acknowledge it or not. Yes, it is. It means to control the mind. Mens mentis means mind. So government literally is to control the mind. And that's how they get people to believe this nonsense that doesn't exist. That's an illusion in a diseased human psyche by controlling their mind, by influencing and manipulating the mind. So all anarchy means is the absence of masters. No masters. Well, you tell people, well, there's no masters here. There's no masters and rulers. There's no masters and slaves. We don't have masters and slaves relationships here. Okay? That doesn't exist here. And what would people say? Well, you have a free society then. You have freedom. You have equality under natural law. Everybody has equal rights. Nobody has rights that other people don't don't have. That's called freedom. People living according to the non-aggression principle, natural law. But no, people think this means chaos. It could never happen. We could never have this condition. That's crazy. You could never have a state. You could never have a condition on earth where there are no rulers and masters, where there is no authority. They actually believe this nonsense. They actually believe their own nonsense. That could never exist. That this is the natural spiritual condition of humanity everywhere, no matter where intelligent life exists in the cosmos. This is the natural state. Anarchy. No masters, no rulers. The only thing the entire cosmos is ruled by is natural law. That's it. You are ruled ultimately by the all. If you want to call that God, go ahead. It's meaningless to me. That term, people get all hung up on it. Whether you want to acknowledge that that's the creative force, the underlying unified field aspect of creative intelligence that is inherent to the universe, however you want to word it, it doesn't matter to me. That's your business. This is an intelligent, creative field that we are living in. It is the authority. That's it. That means the totality of everything has put natural law into effect, along with free will. Natural law is the deterministic component to the universe. Free will is the chaotic component to the universe. That's it. That which really cannot be controlled, because we always have the ability to make a choice at any given time. So you have the randomness component called free will in conjunction with the deterministic component called natural law. And that's what we create through. Do we guide our free will in conjunction with the law that ultimately governs and binds us and determines what the experience we get as a result of our behavior is? So you could say, well, then free will becomes an illusion. If you want to look at it like that, does that mean you're a slave? That you're ultimately, somehow in a big cage called the universe? I don't look at the universe like that. This law exists because it is the balance principle that is put here for our betterment and our spiritual uplift. That's what it's here for. It's not here to torture us. Natural law is here to care for us. It's the only authority we need to bend the knee to live according to the non-aggression principle. Stop putting your ego over other people's rights. Stop believing that you can condone theft and somehow that's okay. That's called justification. You're trying to create a right that doesn't exist by saying it's okay for violence to be conducted here. No, it's never okay for violence to be conducted. Don't get that confused with the defensive use of force. Understand, the non-aggression principle goes hand in hand with the self-defense principle. If you're being accosted with violence, you have an inherent right already to respond with defensive use of force. That's it. It's so simple, it's stupid. It's so simple, you have to be such an idiot not to get it. I mean, people should be horrifically ashamed of themselves. Don't pat somebody on the back and go, oh, dear, there. It's so terrible that you don't get it. No! Hammer them. Tell them it's not okay for you to condone this. It's not okay for you to support violence. You're not right. You're not in the right. You don't have the right. You never had the right. Get out of your ego. Get out of your head. Start understanding what violence is. Start understanding you don't have a right to it. Start understanding what wrongdoing is. Start understanding you don't have a right to it. Stop acting like a child. Stop acting like an ignoramus. It's not okay. It's not okay.